Hey everyone, Drew here, and today we are going to go through the 4.5 anniversary banners and rate them all based on my data to find out which one is the best. Honestly, this time the good characters are distributed more evenly, but there are still two banners that positively stick out. So let's see who wins and who you should pull for, but honestly, it also depends, of course. If you already have some of these characters fully awakened, that changes some of the story, so I am going to point out which characters are really worth to get on each of these banners, which should influence your decision a bit as well. Quick reminder that you will need 1000 paid soul stones if you wanna pull from one of these banners. However, they are out for nearly a month, so you can take your time and, for example, slowly pick some of the $1 packs which provide you with excellent value. So let's jump right into it and look at the banner A with Gavine, Stormelmina, Light Ludmilla and a Bright Lancelot, which gets a whopping 39 out of 100 points. Not exactly the very best banner that is available, and there's a clear reason for that. The really unit that only kind of stands out here is Bright Lancelot on the right. All the other ones are not doing all that much for you. One exception is possibly interesting. Light Ludmilla, the oldest unit on any of these anniversary banner, and I mean at this point she is reaching nearly 4 years of age. She could be of use to you at one copy only as well, which is not true for the three other characters on this banner. I mean, Bright Lancelot a little bit, but she should really go and get the full awakening, and that is a main reason why I think this banner isn't really doing much for you. The only thing that speaks for the banner is that it is kind of universal. Like all these 4 units you can probably put into your arena team of 20 units eventually. But yeah, a lot of them actually do need a full awakening. And so we move on to the next banner, which is the banner B, and this one unfortunately gets even less points. That is 32 points. Here we have Light Snow White or Bright Snow White or Dark Snow White. Well, it's not Dark Snow White specifically. And then we have Earth Anya, Dark Raina and Dark Alice. So a bit of a darker poison vibe going on here, at least with the 3 characters on the right, which are actually the ones that are pulling down this banner quite a bit. Similar to the first banner, we have Bright Snow White here, who is stealing the show, who is really a unit that can be very useful, even a little bit at one copy, I think, not too bad. But the other ones are a bit of a mess. I mean, Earth Anya, yes, is a 100% card, still useful and can do a lot of good for you. Unfortunately, no hold ground, so just one copy of her will give you a 100% guard that will very likely die very quickly, possibly without ever getting a turn. Then you have Dark Raina with the potential doppelganger effect, but as well already quite outdated. Dark Alice, the first unit that introduced the instant active skill mechanic, also nothing to write home about. So yeah, if you're not really hungry for one of these units or wanna have kind of a lucky pull and hope for the best with Bright Snow White, then I would also skip this banner. On to banner C, which gets 40 points, and that is because we have a new Dark Angel reset here. We have the old school #1 Dark Jeanne and Earth Ossia, as well a poison unit, and King Arthur, of course, leading the pack here as a very new character that could potentially help you quite a lot. I mean, we do have pretty decent units here overall, I would say. There is no real dud. All of them can still be used. I mean, Dark Jeanne is very outdated, to be honest, but actually revenge ignoring attacks are on the decline, so she, in that sense at least, is gaining a little bit of value and might also benefit from a bit of a poison resurgence that we might see this year. So yeah, 40 points for this banner, but of course you would probably hope for King Arthur there, although Dark Reset and Earth Ossia are very decent as well. So that means if you wanna get a poison team, then this is the banner for you. Speaking of wanting a poison team, we have a weird mixed banner here with 2 burn units. I mean, to be fair, Nobunaga on the left can be used as a support in pretty much any team that isn't too afraid of the burn status effect. Haku as well as a supporter. Shuten Daoji really weirdly placed here because she is a poison stealth unit that is not really supporting at all. Also a blood unit. And then we have Honoji as a kind of a fire burn DPS. This banner actually only gets 23 points, and yeah, it is largely dragged down by Shuten Daoji. Honoji is also not performing extremely well in the rankings right now, so the only unit that's really holding up this banner is Nobunaga, which again, you have to really get lucky here with this banner. I think this banner might very well be the worst choice, just because it's really... Actually, now that I think about it, I take this back because Haku is a unit that can deliver value at 1 copy. Nobunaga is a unit that can deliver value at 1 copy. So I think there's a 50% chance that you get a decent unit out of this. And I mean, yeah, Shuten Daoji and Honoji. I mean, Honoji at least is a new unit with interesting mechanics. She's not bad at all. So really the only big fail would be to get Shuten Daoji here. But even she might be useful if you run someone like King Arthur and want to draw in the banish to another unit that potentially an enemy unit casts. But after taking this D banner, we look at the E banner, and that one is actually where the money is at. It's 72 points, and I feel like, I don't know, it feels a bit like déjà vu. I don't know, the longer playing players might be able to confirm or not confirm this, but I feel like this combination of unit or a similar combination of unit is oftentimes one of the top banners on these anniversary banners. We do have a really strong combo. We have Storm Jeanne, we have Light Anya, we have Bright Ludmilla, the latter two being 2 of the strongest guards in the entire game. And then we have Mizuchi as really the very weakest unit among the 4, but still a unit that can be decent. You can use her at position 20 in the arena if need be. If you really still have a spot open, then that can work decently for you. But the main point is, here you have a chance, a 75% chance of getting a top 6 unit, and that is pretty insane. 72 points for this banner, and that is telling you all there is to know, I think, because yeah, so far the best banner had 40 points. So in my opinion, if you do not have any of these units fully awakened yet, then this is the banner that you should go for. This is the safest bet. In terms of just 1 copy, I think Storm Jeanne still provides the best value of the 4. Moving on to banner F, and we are down back to some more average numbers. We have 44 points here, but still a decent banner. We have Freya, this first Hold Ground plus burn unit that was released, and I think it was the very first unit that actually could independently reset her Hold Ground plus, so that was quite innovative. We have Earthmusha, who was a long-term number 1 in the rankings, now losing a lot of value, as are all other stealth units. Speaking of other stealth units, that is also true for Water So White, also with the counter skin. And so again, this banner is mainly carried by just a single unit. Not so much as some of the other banners that we talked about before, but still, Water Alice by far the very best unit on this banner. Granted, all these 4 together still look like a decent package, so I wouldn't immediately skip this banner and hope possibly for Water Alice, but at least there's no complete dud in these units. So all these 4, I think, do have a potential place in most teams if you're not really fully stacked yet. Now we move on to banner G, which is the burn banner, which gets 41 points. And here we have a strong burn lineup. Of course, the strongest burn unit that is carrying burn teams around the world is Commander Astrid on the left. Then we have a very old unit that is Fire Hibiki. I think she turns 3 years old this fall. And then we have Bright Astrid, the only burn guard that exists as an SSR variant. Very, very decent still as well. And then we have Fire Elmina with the Burn Stun entry and the Burning Heart. Also a very nice unit, I think, especially for burn teams and for countering someone like Sleeping Beauty potentially. And so yeah, this leaves us with a very decent banner. One dot is basically this very old Fire Hibiki. Of course, she was very strong at the very beginning of 2.0, but right now her skill set is really kind of outdated. I mean, sure, you could possibly still run her in a team led by Commander Astrid, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan of it. But that being said, if you do build a burn team and don't have these other 3 units fully awakened yet, then this one I think is a very easy choice, because Commander Astrid, Bright Astrid, and also Fire Elmina will be a great help to any burn team. Moving on to Banner Agent, this one is another good one. This one actually gets 58 points, so that is very decent performance. Here we see a banner that is also carried by 2 units, but 2 other units are also okay. This is the kind of sleep banner that we see here. So Ludmilla and Clarice, of course, a very, very strong forced sleep unit with that kind of deadly guard passive that is really, really nice. Then we have Water Callen with the entry and calling for her sister, becoming a part-time guard is potentially as well. And then we have Water Callen with the light speed entry. That was the very first unit that had this kind of passive, so whenever she gets on the battlefield, she immediately gets a turn. And to the right, of course, we have Cinderella, still number 1 in my SSR world rankings, and so this is a unit that you still would definitely want, and she can also provide value at less than full awakening. The same is true for many of these other units. I feel they all have some kind of gimmick that could help them provide value to you at 1 copy. If you are building a sleep team, this is a very, very decent banner to pick. But even if you're not, these are units that could be very helpful. I mean, Cinderella is the most universal of these 4 units, but even someone like Ludmilla and Clarice, they can basically get a lucky kill, become deadly guards, help you with the forced sleep. Then we have Water Callen with the sleep entry, and then we have Water Callen with the sleep swap. So all of them have a bit of capabilities that could help you in a team that doesn't not like to be combined with sleep. Banner I, we see a Storm banner, and this Storm banner only gets 31 points. Quite a weak performance here. Why is that? I mean, we do see the original Lancelot on the left, but she is losing quite a bit of value. Still can be quite good in certain situations, but she's no longer top 10 in my subjective opinion. And then we also see Sun Wukong, who is a Storm charge unit, but there are better charge units right now, and both of them are on this banner. I mean, Storm Ludmilla is arguably in the same range as Sun Wukong in terms of her usefulness, but she is a better supporter, of course, while Sun Wukong is really going more for the DPS style. So I think she is kind of the weakest unit of these 4. Not super bad, but also not super helpful. And I think that is the main drawback of this banner. We do see Storm Clarice, which of course could still lend you a lot of value. As I talked before, she is a very, very great unit. Definitely the unit that you would want to get on this banner, but how high are the chances for actually getting that? That is the big question. That being said, the floor of this banner basically is not super low, because even if you get the kind of worst unit of this banner, Sun Wukong is still not that bad, if that makes sense. But moving on to the last banner, then we have banner J, and that one is featuring Earth units and Giga Relosha. Very interesting combination. We do see Sleeping Beauty on the left, which is quite certainly the biggest hit on this banner. Yeah, with all the thorns and stuff going on, I don't think I have to explain that. The only big weakness, of course, being Burn. And then we have Jirel, which might get the prize for weakest unit released in 2023. Let me just think back. I don't think there's anyone, at least in Arena, who really deserves that prize more than her. So yeah, not really someone you would want to go for. And then we have Earthray, who was a unit that was really, really good when she was released in the beginning phase of 2.0, but now there's just so many better alternatives. It actually is a unit, one of the last units, I think, I feel like, that doesn't even have any sort of self-healing capabilities. And then we also see Giga Relosha, and that one is a very good pick as well. Great support at 1 copy already, really messing with potential sleep teams if she gets the turn especially, but also helping with the timeline distortion. If she does get the turn and get the Chrono Chaos off, then this is already a great success. And of course, if she gets a kill, she always unlocks the Savage Step Back, which is also nice, but keep in mind her low speed. That being said, this is a bit of a 50-50 banner, 50% chance that you get a really good unit in Sleeping Beauty or Giga Relosha, and 50% that you get a unit that you might not be able to use at all in your top 20, except if you are not fully stacked there yet. For example, if you only have like 10 SSRs, then Jirel and Earthray, of course, I think can still provide some good value to your team for the time being while you get stronger units. So as a quick recap, this is the banner that I would generally recommend to the widest group of people. Big drawback only being if you only have 1 or more units on this banner already fully awakened. But even if you have 1 fully awakened, then this banner is still a very, very decent choice, honestly, especially if that 1 fully awakened unit is Mizuchi, but also if not. But there is a lot of considerations that you have to take into account this time. I mean, this banner is the best of the bunch in terms of the data, but of course, for your personal situation, you have to consider a lot of different things. I hope my analysis was helpful for these considerations. Let me know in the comments which banner you end up choosing if you do get or pull on one of these anniversary banners. And also let me know if you disagree, of course, with my choices here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to become a true carrot. There's a new tier list coming up soon. And as always, thanks for watching.